The other day, I went to a physical therapy appointment with my dad. He's 88 years old and he's having a little trouble with balance. The physical therapist checked him in and asked him to do a number of tests in order to check just where he was on the scale of balance. And as I observed the different exercises that she asked him to complete, I noticed that there were some things that Dad did really well, and there were other things that he didn't do so well on. When he would lose his balance on one side, he would overcompensate with the other side, and it would cause him to become even more unsteady. You know, in life, there are all kinds of distractions, responsibilities, opportunities for growth, and whatnot. But life is all about balance. Years ago, I was introduced to the Wheel of Life. And the Wheel of Life looks like a wagon wheel with you in the middle. So you're the circle in the middle, and it has these spokes that go out so that you can put the tire on the wheel. And each spoke on the wheel represents an aspect of life. All the spokes have to be even for the wheel to roll smoothly. Now, the first spoke is the professional focus. This includes your finances and your career. Whether you own a business or you work for someone else, it's important you feel safe in your finances and to have a professional focus. Some people never put enough thought into this and choose to live their life with their head in the sand. Others spend all their effort trying to accumulate more money and more power. It's never enough. You can see where both sides could cause that spoke to get out of balance. The second spoke is mental and educational balance. This includes skill building, education, and training. I have met many graduates that feel once they have left school, the learning is over and they should be entitled to all the world has to offer. The reality is that school is supposed to simply teach you how to learn. You owe it to yourself and society to keep learning and getting better at your craft. You should seek to expand your mind and to grow as an individual. On the other hand, there are some that spend so much time learning that they forget to get around to the doing part. Now, the third spoke is health. We are nothing if we don't have our health. Men like Steve Jobs spent millions on treatments for his pancreatic cancer, and I believe that he did live longer than most people with this diagnosis. However, his productivity and ultimately his life was cut short due to physical limitations. Taking care of your body is one of the most important things you can do. But just like anything else, it can become all-consuming, and your life can become unbalanced. The extra time you may spend in the gym could cause you to neglect one of the other spokes in the wheel. Now, the fourth spoke is social. We are social creatures. We long to be part of a group, and we were designed to have our pack or posse. During the COVID lockdown of 2020, we were all ordered to stay 6 feet away in order to stop the spread of the virus. During that time, the use of video and social media soared because that was the only way we could stay connected. The results on the mental health of society as a whole was disastrous, and it's still an effect that we feel today. I don't think anybody could see the effect of staying 6 feet away from people to avoid human touch and interaction out of fear and see what the results were in the future. It is horrible that we were so far from each other, but it should be a lesson learned. You see, this is an extreme case of isolation, but there's also a point where you're spending too much time with your posse and you end up losing focus so that one of your other spokes begin to suffer. The fifth spoke is spiritual and ethical. There's an old country song that says you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Your spiritual and ethical foundation is the most important thing for you to work out before you're faced with a decision. It is very rare that a person spends too much time on this spoke. Most of the time, people ignore this aspect of their life in the beginning. And frankly, in the beginning, it probably doesn't matter a whole lot because the spokes on the wheel are very small as you get started out. So if there's a little bit of a bump, it's still going to run very, very smoothly. But this is one area of life that needs a lot of attention. This is the foundation for your decisions and your thoughts. Focusing on your spiritual and ethical beliefs is one of the most neglected spokes in your wheel. Now, the last spoke is family. Aside from my relationship with Jesus Christ, my family is my most important focus. Some people neglect their family while putting their focus on one of the other spokes. This often leads to bad marriages, misbehaved children, and a rough road later in life as those children become young adults. Some people focus too much on their family and end up with a lower standard of living because that spoke is too far out of whack, and a life that ends up crumbling when the family encounters a major tragedy. So just like my dad going to physical therapy, sometimes we need a little help to regain our balance. And folks, there is no shame in reaching out to others when you notice that your ride is getting a little bumpy. Those who can identify an issue before it becomes a problem and seeks the advice of another is truly a wise person that longs to level up.